Back at table 4, Galfond up by 15,000 in chips. Blinds now at 3 and 600.
I don't know. Yeah.
Galfond was recently written up in a prominent real estate blog for his penthouse purchase in New York. He bought 2 penthouses and connected them with a slide.
Everybody's got to have one, Ali.
Or 2.
After the call from Phil, Hashem checks. Joe pairs his 9 and checks. Phil bets 600.
6. Taking a little shot at the pot.
Hashem calls. Hashem makes 2 pair 9s and 8s. Galfond with an open-ender.
Interesting. Joe leading out after having check called the flop. This is going to look weak to Phil Galfond.
Galfond raises to 6,400.
Spades on the turn.
And Joe's making a quick call. Galfond might change his opinion about the strength of Hashem's hand based on the speed of that call. Joe actually could have put in a 3-bet if he wanted to.
Phil hits his straight and sucks out.
This is bad news for Joe Hashem.
He checks.
I'm all in.
Phil puts Joe all in.
Phil says he's all in.
I think you polarized again, young Philip. Again, I can't say anything because you're going to read me. May have to make you sit in the corner and behave. I don't know. This is so close. So that's what I've got, so you know.
Wow, Joe's giving him a look.
I want you to see what I've got, so you know.
Looking for a reaction.
So, what do you want me to do, Phil?
Make your best decision and take your time.
Oh. I fold.
That's uncanny.
Genius.
You just tilted your head and that made me fold. Hope I was right. I don't know.
You can pick which one.
And Joe lays his hand down. Holds a 2 pair. Remember, these guys have agreed to show 1 card.
Here comes the show one. It's the 6. Joe thinks he got bluffed.
Table 4, Phil Ivey is trailing big. Daniel Cates currently holding a better than 3-to-1 chip advantage. GoDaddy.com Pocket Cam shows Cates' Jack 8.
Don't be surprised by that chip advantage. Get used to that face, too. Daniel Jungle Man Cates. Big article recently in the New York Times chronicling his ascent in the poker world. Picked up almost $5.5 million playing cash games in the first 18 months he played.
Cates flops a full house. Ivey with trip 8s. This could get ugly.
It is downright Arctic in here. This is a cold deck for Ivey.
Cates bets 600 after Ivey's check. And then Phil raises to 1,800. Daniel just calls.
Not gonna 3-bet and potentially lose his man.
5 of spades, Ivey drawing dead. He better be careful.
No way he's gonna get away from this hand, not on that board.
Phil bets 3,000. Daniel calls.
Making it look like he has a jack, just reeling Phil in.
2 of diamonds. Let's see if Ivey's spidey sense is tingling.
All in.
It's not. He goes all in. Cates calls. That means Phil Ivey is eliminated.
Lights out.
Well done. Good game. Thank you.
Extremely early exit for one of poker's premier players.
That's all she wrote. So where do I go?
Jungle Man lowering the cold curtain on the Ivey show.
1,000 in chips. David with queen 6. Limps in on the button. Sammy with queen 10 suited. He raises to 7,000.
I got the button. I'll take the button.
David calls.
Again, we're seeing those raises a little bit bigger than most of the other players in this field out of Sammy. That time, 3.5 times the big blind.
Queens full for Williams, and he's gonna get action because Sammy flopped trip queens.
Uh-oh.
Sammy bets 4,000 and Williams calls. 4 clubs on the turn.
Sammy picks up an irrelevant flush draw, and both of these guys are checking it.
Check, check. And the 3-outer on the river. Sammy makes queens full of 10s.
Wowzers.
He bets 15,000.
This is unbelievable. David flopped the whole wide world, and Sammy caught up on the end.
Williams raises to 35,000.
This could get nuclear. This is all pageantry by Sammy Farha.
I'll raise.
The nuts versus the second nuts.
This is the 20.
Sammy raises.
I guess I'm all in.
David goes all in. Sammy calls and shows him the unbeatable hand. David's eliminated.
Wow. Wow.
That is brutal.
Did it twice.
$600,000 to the runner-up. Chip count now just about 4-1 in the favor of Phil Ivey.
Paul Jackson, however, has breached that magic million chip mark, and were he to double through, we'd be looking at a real horse race here.
Well, it's such a different game, two-handed here. On the flop, pair of jacks and a 7. Ivey still the leader with that queen-8 suited. 3 hearts out there for him. 80,000 is the bet.
And that's a pretty standard poker play, Barry. The big stack on a flop like this in an unraised pot wants to keep making tester bets. Try to find out if the little guy connected in any way. And with that kind of flop, it looks unlikely. So Phil Ivey says, okay, I've got queen high, but I'll take a stab at it. And look at this! Re-raise by Jackson.
Wow. To 170,000.
Now, I like the play because Paul Jackson is willing to get into a poker match here. He's not going to just sit around and wait to flop the nuts.
This may be the line in the sand here for Paul Jackson.
Phil Ivey, though, if he really thinks deeply about this, might be asking himself, well, now wait a minute. If this guy had a jack in his hand, would he re-raise me here? Probably not. So what the heck is he doing?
So he's thinking it, and the question is,
Wow.
will he overthink it?
A re-raise!
Well, there you are. Re-raises to 320,000. It's right back in the face of Paul Jackson.
We are watching some poker here, Barry. Both guys with nothing. Phil Ivey's nothing is a little bit better than Paul Jackson's, but nobody connected with that flop, and here they are, raise, re-raise, re-raise.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, Jackson is re-raising. What the heck is going on here?
Re-raising.
Another 150,000, now it's up to 470.
Almost 1 million chips in this pot now.
This is incredible.
And you can almost hear the wheels turning in the head of Phil Ivey. Is this for real?
Right, and I'm thinking Phil Ivey has got to fold here.
Yeah.
I mean, is his opponent going to raise him twice with nothing? After Phil Ivey has shown strength?
How much you got left? 360. 380. 360, 380.
380,000 is what Jackson finally arrives at.
Barry, let's put this in perspective. We're looking at a 1 million chip pot, and both players have nothing. We are looking at 2 guys bluffing with nothing. Both of them. Who's going to blink?
With 2 cards to come. I don't think he's going to blink.
I don't see how he can possibly continue in this hand. Everything Paul Jackson has done.
All in.
What?
That's why we're here and they're there.
Absolutely astonishing poker.
What was point thinking, is it?
It's a good lay down, wasn't it?
He said it was a good lay down, and he's going to do just that. And Phil Ivey is the guy who did not blink.
Watching this hand was like witnessing great art. It's absurd and wonderful at the same time. It's just mind-blowing what we just witnessed from Phil Ivey.
Oh, Michael, let's...
With Phil Ivey's quick departure, there's a new table 4. One of last year's semifinalists, Dennis Phillips, is taking on E-Dog Eric Lindgren. More heads-up action right now.
How long was it till we were picked last night? Was it an early draw or one of the latest ones?
One of the last ones. The spades was the very last one.
Lindgren getting brought up to speed, wasn't able to make it to the pairings party like somebody else I know.
Sorry about that, my friend.
For every time you wanted to be drawn first, and it cost you $1,000 for every name.
Oh, shoot.
Again, I would have got killed again.
Speaking of getting killed, Lindgren makes 2 pair, set of aces for Phillips.
Bet 900.
Eric bets 900.
This is gonna get real ugly.
Dennis raises to 2,300.
47.
There's a chip party in the middle. Everyone's invited.
Re-raise by Eric to 4,700.
Phillips can save the acting job. Eric's not going anywhere.
Where's Don Cheadle when you need him?
I'm all in.
I call.
Dennis goes all in, and a snap call from Eric.
Neither player was gonna slow play with the flush draw out there.
Here's your turn.
5 of spades. Phillips doubles up and now takes a 4-1 chip lead.
More coolers than a tailgate party in here.
My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's